Yo, what is up, everyone? X-Spartan1000 here, and we are back with another Star Ocean and Divine Force build video. This one may be a little quicker than the other one, and it's because I feel like I explained Nina's build fairly well in the first build video. I want to give everybody a special thanks for showing up to our build video. That is the most popular Star Ocean build video that I have right now. I'm glad so many people like it and have dropped comments to discuss what they are doing and how it's helped them. I really appreciate that sort of feedback. Let me know about stuff that doesn't work for you guys as well, because I would like to explore things that I could be doing differently to elevate my gameplay. And the whole purpose of this channel is to help elevate your gameplay as well, especially for RPGs and any sort of co-op multiplayer games that I tackle. But let's get into her stats. So my Nina has very high guts and very high defense, and a decently high health rating for what she's able to obtain so far from what I've seen. I've maxed out the maximum amount of resistance you can get for our elemental effects. Same thing for all the other ones like the negative status ailments and such. So I'll give you a look at how her paradigm will look if you're doing the same thing that I did. The only thing I would like to grab on here that I haven't grabbed before is the 2 health hearts to get her the most HP she could possibly have. Anything that I've left out is the passive skills that I didn't think would be super useful because I have the computer controlling Nina. Now, some of those things could be useful if you're using her, but I'm mainly focusing on what is going to give you the most amount of survivability and what's going to give you the most amount of support for your team. So that's why we prioritize what we prioritize. But this is what you would want your paradigm to look like for a very support slash tank focused Nina for the late game and just throughout the game. Let's jump into the leveling up of the skills. So with leveling up her skills, I chose to max Tingling Chimes first because this is a move that she starts with, and it covers a very wide area and it heals people up very good. But when you max it out to level 10, it cures all status ailments. And so that means if you're confused, if you're burned, if you're frozen, that stuff is going to get cleared instantly, making aqua berries no longer necessary, making active skills like purification no longer necessary. This will just cleanse everybody. So this is huge. You absolutely want to max this out. And the healing potency gets really great at level 10. Pure bravery is another thing you want to max out because it's directly affecting the amount of the damage that you're going to get for attack and the magic damage. Unfortunately, you don't get any more additional AP other than 3. It's just going to stick at that flat 3, but that's nothing to turn your nose up at, because if you're sitting at 2 AP bars and she drops this, you got a 5 AP ability thing, so that's still pretty huge. And she can honestly spam this back to back too, depending on how you have your combos run as well. And this will shorten fights, and that's pretty much what you would need for anybody who's late game farming or just trying to take down bosses. Language of Sound is something I skipped out on because it doesn't offer that much support for your teammates in comparison to some of the later on abilities, and I feel the same about Heavy Bass. Tingling Chimes is another thing, or Tingling Chimes Ceremony is another thing you can level up as well. I'm curious to see what happens when it reaches its max level. I believe you should definitely go with Tingling Chimes first, because I don't believe that this one will cure status ailments as well. And it's a smaller area, so if you're going for a more melee focused gameplay, like if you're playing somebody who's all in like Raymond and Leticia, you probably want to max this first because it's going to be a much wider area hitting you and your other NPCs. But Tingling Chime Ceremony is still worth getting. Now, for something that you might want to prioritize after Tingling Chimes and then Cheer of Bravery, Tempered Metal is a real good one because when physical damage is coming into you, you can reduce that significantly, starting out at 15%, potentially going up to 40. Right now, it can go up to 17%. That's pretty good damage reduction to have, considering when you go into S3 cage, you can get extra damage reduction from that. And then, of course, whatever you already have stacked on for your armor. And this is lasting for potentially 15 seconds. That's a nice hefty buff to have on you when fighting bosses. Guts is really good because you'll be increasing the amount of HP that you're getting over time. And when you think about how tingling chimes work, it almost kind of works as fast regeneration. Anybody using auto healing is going to get a boost in that, especially if you max out auto healing. So Pledge makes all of that recovery stats extra, like a lot better for you. And then for any characters that you have in your team that are going to inflict status ailments, this is very good if you have, say, if you have Malkia in the party. Her Crush Clap is able to deal the confusion status effect, and it does work on bosses. I've seen it work on late game bosses and adds alike, and it's very easy for her to spam. And any other mages that have status elements that you're running in their party, you should definitely put Pledge on because they'll actually get those effects off, like Deep Freeze, actually stopping people solidly in their tracks, for example. Reverberate's another one you could max out. However, I don't think you need to. It definitely shouldn't be a priority because you shouldn't be banking on your characters to drop anyhow. I think this is more of like a get out of jail free card sort of ability. You want to pull this out whenever things are getting bleak. Maybe somebody got one-shotted and you didn't expect them to. Switch to Nina and just quickly cast this ability and pick up however many people have dropped. They're getting 60% of their HP back, which is damn near their whole health bar. 40% isn't much, and if you have her spamming out tingling chimes, as soon as she picks you up, she's going to go right into this to give you the last little bit that you're missing. When you do upgrade this ability, it is going to raise the potency of the heal, not necessarily lower the HP cost for it, but it's still something you can potentially look at leveling up after getting these first two up here. As for active skills, if you're not controlling Nina, these aren't necessary. Concentration's meant to give you all-around buffs to make you like, a hyper carry. But you won't need that if you're having her play more of a support role. Purification becomes unnecessary when you level up Tingling Chimes because it cures all status ailments as you're healing people. So you won't need purification. For passive skills, Longer Punishment is going to let ailments stick more, especially your bestowed effects to your teammates as well. That's in the factor. It's currently at 31% and has the potential to go higher, so it's definitely worth maxing out. First Aid can give you a pretty hefty amount of health back if you max it out, and this is whenever you're falling to low levels of HP. For Nina to be a tankier individual with some survivability, I highly recommend leveling up First Aid so she can't be assassinated or killed by burst damage. Auto healing is really great because of her high level of guts, which means she's going to heal back a lot faster than everyone else. And if you think about how Tingling Chimes work, it works like regen anyway, heals over time. So it'll be very hard for her to, consistently be hurt by poison or sport. She'll just be mitigating constantly, leveling that up. As for synchro skills, you could level these up. I definitely think this is more of a late game sort of thing for leveling up, because if you're looking at fighting and farming, you're not ulting every fight, you're not even ulting every other fight. Leveling up that, not leveling up, but filling up that VAT gauge is something that takes some time, so it's much better to lay the groundwork with your passive skills and your actual combat skills, and then your active skills if you're controlling that character, because that's mainly what the active skills are for. You don't really want the computer to try to spam those out. Before I move too far away from it, I did want to show you the potential for First Aid at level 10. It can go up to 24 there's a 24% chance of recovering 20% of your health when you're attacked. So that's pretty good for the effect factor. And then for auto healing, it's restoring 3% HP at regular intervals. So that's pretty huge. And this isn't going to be just as it says, because the higher guts you have, the more you're going to heal. And Nina's in the 3000s before getting an actual buff, and she can raise it a lot higher. So that's something to keep in mind for those two passes I was mentioning earlier. As for the chain combos, I kept everything the same as in the first video, but I'll briefly go over it again. It's always a good idea to start off throwing a heal to people, and then whether you want to do ceremony first or tingling chimes, it doesn't matter the order. If you need it in a smaller area because you're a ranged person hiding in the back, she'll run over and drop this on you, and then run away to go help your teammates up close with this close range one. And if you're a full melee squad, this is the better version for you to run. And then sheer bravery at the end, and when you have full HP, is always a good idea, because then you can start really taking it to whatever ads or boss you're fighting. Purification, this is mainly if you're using her, but I did not see that Tingling Chimes was going to end up giving you the ability to cure all status elements, so honestly you could just not use Purification and throw on Concentration instead. Honestly, that's probably what I'll do, because I don't think you need to run Purification anymore once you max out Tingling Chimes. So this actually gives you a whole bunch of buffs. If you could buff herself and then double dip those is after that. Sheer Bravery is a nice way to start off a fight, especially if you're farming ads, or just, you know, trying to really get a head start on break damage for a boss. So highly recommend going for this, and then going for a tempered metal, because you're starting off the fight strong and then you're making yourself defensible, so if it does turn into a long fight, you're not going to lose health right away. And then lastly, following up with a Tingling Chimes to make sure that, you know, you're mitigating that damage coming in and healing back whatever you lost. Pledge is good to keep the fight going, and for other tankier characters that have a lot of potential for regen, maxing guts is directly going to affect that. And then of course people who can apply status elements, this is going to be very huge for them, especially if you got Malkia teamed up with Nina. That's a really good person to have this get placed on. Another variation, you could drop Tingling Chimes, go into a damage buff, and then go into a defense buff. Lastly, we keep the res on a hold ability, because you don't want to wait to try to do an entire combo to res somebody. That's not smart. You want to be able to revive people whenever you can. This is very much one of those spells where it's like, holy crap, we gotta get people up. We're in a bad situation. So don't want to be waiting too long for that one. But this is what her stats look like at 90. They can get a lot higher than this whenever you start the craft, and whenever you actually hit the max level. I've been Spartan1000. I hope you guys enjoyed this updated version of Nina's build video. I have Elena's on the way, and then soon to be Malkia's as well. I want to look at some more things with Malkia's. I got a comment about there is a passive skill that you can run that might make her fast cast. Not as fast as Midas, but faster than normal, so I'll have to look into that. So that one's going to take a little longer to get out, and then Elena's is pretty much ready to go. I just got to actually talk my way through it and see what else I have to add to what I said previously in the old video. But this is Nina's updated video. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the initial one so much. I hope you like where she ended off at. I know I did. I think this is going to be the main way I'll play her. I don't know if I ever would care to explore the damage side of her, because the support side is just too good. I've been Spartan1000, and I will catch you guys in the next Star Ocean Divine Force build.